Let's talk a little bit about income producing activities. How does this industry work? Because everybody wants to make money in this industry. It's all about IPAs, income producing activities, and understanding how to set up your schedule, the one that you're going to make for you. You know, we have to understand that when people get involved in this business, what happens is people start, and we're going to make like JJ was saying, we're going to make a big, huge announcement here at the end. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about this because, you know, we know what can happen inside this industry, right? People can come in, and what's supposed to happen is we're supposed to be able to, when we look at a company, our desire is, and what we're being told, hopefully balances out with what our desires are. And that is products. When you get involved in a networking opportunity or a network marketing company, products should be better than those on the outside in the streets. Okay. We should be able to get better products. That's why people get involved in the industry anyway, because people look at this space and all they hear from everybody is, oh, we got better products, better products, better products, right? And we get that, right? And but let's understand first components of network marketing, because that is really really important, right? I think once you understand the demographics of this, and one, I always say is, look, good products. We're talking about that. We should be able to get better products inside of network marketing than we're going to get anywhere else. That is really, really important. So as consumers, I know I read labels. I hope you guys read labels. And pretty soon, within, years from now, everybody's going to be reading labels. We won't have to worry about that, right? Because that is something that's just going to happen. So good products, that's one of the major components of this industry, right? And, when you look at a business inside of this space, what I try and teach people is that look at those owners and ask yourself, what have they done in the past, right? If you know an owner and his background is he's been in like 8 or 9 different companies, I don't think a company is going to have that much of a chance when somebody's been around, jumping around like a kangaroo in so many different places, because they're telling people, hey, I'm here for good. We're going to make money together. We all believe that. And we invest our time, our money, and then boop, all of a sudden somebody's gone. And so I think doing really, really, really good research, and that is looking at the corporate team, looking at the ownership of the company. And, I'll give you a really, really good example. Okay. My brother and I, and JJ, our corporate team here at Asante Organics. Well, what do we do? I came from one company, one time, one, that's it. My brother, one company, one time, that's it. We put ourselves into a place where we never had to work again in our entire lives. Why? Because that's what we wanted. Everybody wants that, but you have to go out there and actually go and do the things to get that. And well, what are those things, right? Well, one is we're going to talk a little bit about creating income producing activities and what we do in this space to make it all work, right? But the second thing you want to look at after you look at those owners is look at those products, right? Because a well-run company, and this goes for every company, a company that is being well run, okay, is going to be a company with good products, with good value proposition exchange. Anything like that inside of this industry or inside of any industry is going to crush it. Well, what are we talking about when you say, well, good, what do you mean good value proposition exchange? Simple. Certified organic, 100% chemical free, 100% toxic free. Who is not going to see value in that? I think every single solitary person if you show a business properly, they're going to see huge value in it, right? And, understanding that you have to plan your work and work your plan and make realistic goals. Okay. You can't sit there and say, hey, I want to make 20, 30, 40, $50,000 or $100,000 a month and show up 3 hours a week. That's not happening for anybody in any company. It don't work like that. That's not life. Okay. And it doesn't matter in any industry. You look at a guy like Mark Cuban, who's a shark on the Shark Tank. This guy slept on his friend's couch eating mustard and ketchup sandwiches because he was so broke until he sold his company for over $6 billion. And he showed up every day. When you work for yourself, you have to show up every day. You got to look in that mirror. That's who you're looking for. I mean, that's who you're working for. So would you hire yourself? Ask yourself that. That's really, really important. Because you know what? Because now you're going to be talking to people. And whether you're talking to people on a part-time basis or whether you're talking to somebody on a full-time basis, you're two things happen. You get paid for your time. So if somebody says, like my brother says to somebody, hey, how much did you do this week for your business? And they said, well, I was busy and this and that. And they're talking, my brother, well, you made nothing. So you got appropriately paid for the things that you did. You didn't do anything, so you didn't make anything, right? So, you have to understand that. And, when you're looking at a networking company as well, you have to look at that from the outside in and make sure that that company, if you want to pick a good company, they're paying people on time. It's really huge. That's important. And they got good customer service. Those are the only components you need, right? But now, how do we work this business? It's building trust. It's all it is, right? And and I think that again, you're showing up. You're going to work whatever it is. Some people don't have a lot of time, and they're doing this to create extra income. So if you're going to say, if I asked you how many hours in a week are you going to work, and you say 10, and then I say, okay, well, then, and this is the things that you should be doing as well. Then you're saying to your people, all right, 10, how many, is that every single day? Are you working 1 day, 2 days, 5 days? Okay, that's what? That's 2 hours? 2 hours, right? All right. So that's 2 hours a day. What are those hours going to be? You got to get these commitments there. So one, you can be there for them. Nobody in this industry has ever made big, huge income showing up here and there and here and there and here and there. So you got to create a daily method of operation. What does that look like? Well, what are you going to do for those 2 hours? You can't call up your 5 people that you got involved in the company, and then you want to hear about, oh, you know what? My kid's not behaving. So we'll talk about 30 minutes about the kids. And then, okay, we hang up there. And then we call the next person, and the animals, the dog ran away, and everybody's crying about the dog that ran away. So we're going to talk about the dog. And then that's an hour. Oh God, I put in an hour already. And you call up your next person, and who's in your organization. And next thing you know, we have my spouse. He don't like this. He don't like this networking. And then we're going to talk about that. You can't be doing small talk. You save that stuff for like 10 o'clock at night. You want friends? Go get friends at 10 o'clock at night, because you can have a lot of friends and be broke. That's the truth. Okay. When we worked this business in this industry with me and Danny, people knew that we were working from this time to this time. So people didn't bother us at those times. People aren't going to go into your workplace and say, hey, Kathy Joe, come over here. Well, we got to hang out and do some stuff. You'd be like, what are you doing? Right? Because that's not what you do. Well, what are you doing there? You're exchanging your time so you get a paycheck. Is that what you want to do for the rest of your life? Or rather, you build time freedom, because that's more valuable than working 30, 40, now 50 years, some people. I'm watching people actually retiring and then telling me they gotta want to go find a job. That's the craziest thing I ever seen in my entire life. And this industry produces really, really big income. I know some people with bigger incomes in this industry than celebrities and musicians that were in big bands like Cheap Trick. Okay, there's a good band. We all know who that band is, hopefully. And each member in that band is worth 20, 25 million. But I know a few people in the networking industry that haven't done anything since the early 90s, and they're worth, John knows one in here that's worth over 100 million. But you have to approach it properly. And, that's planning your work, creating realistic goals, doing it every single day because you're doing it over and over and over and over again. Actions produce habits. Okay. It's really important to understand. Okay. Understand this. A goal without a plan is a wish. That's what it is. It's a wish. That's it. You got a goal, but you have no plan. That's all you got is a wish. So and again, I watch people and they're like, well, I got to do this. And maybe I got to read one more book and maybe I go to one more seminar. And you know what happens at that point? You'll train yourself broke. At one point in time, you have to start doing some things. And actions produce habits. And it takes 28 days to turn an action into a habit. 28 days. 28 days to do the same thing. And if it's at the same time, it's going to take that for you to turn that action into a habit. And networking is what? It's connecting and exchanging information. It doesn't matter. A computer can, and I'm going to ask John Johnson here and bring him on here shortly. Computers network. They exchange information. A lot of things network. And then people network, right? And what I think people forget about is the connecting part. That's the part you have, are you eager? You got to be eager to tell people what you have. And how are you going to be connecting with humans? Simple. You're inviting them. You're talking to them, making new friends on Facebook, maybe talking when you're out, doing whatever it is, and just saying, hey, this may or may not be for you, but how much, are you doing on a daily basis to reach what it is that you want to do in your life, right? And start exposing stories, find out what people can relate to. Listen to them. They'll tell the guy who listens the most will get the most information from the other person speaking, and boom, immediately you'll have a say, right? And if they say no, don't get worked up because if anybody would want to leave this industry and quit because they got to know, then right off the bat, it's not for you. You have to understand too the difference between following up and following through. Okay, there's a big, huge difference. People that follow up don't make money. People that follow through make money. What's the difference? Well, if you told somebody about the business, I would get back with them within 24 hours, and I'm calling them. And if I'm getting a voicemail, that's not following up. I will never leave a message. I wait until they answer, or I might leave one message. I'll say, hey, this is Mike. I will leave one message and say, can you call me back at this time? But then I'll just keep following them until they give me an answer. And that answer is going to be yes or no. That's it. That's all. That's all it's going to be. It's going to be yes, maybe, or no. Let me look at it, whatever. But I always make sure I follow through. So I know that right now at this point, Bob says, no, he's whatever reason. And then 90 days later, I call him back because guess what? I've had people sign up right after 90 days because, business things change, right? And and ask questions. Ask people questions because if you don't know how to ask the right questions, you will never, never know how to close anything. Do you like the products or do you like the business side of things, or would you be looking for both, right? Once you know what they like, well, then you're going to know how to close. Once you maybe what they like about your business, because you own the largest USDA certified organic superstore in the world. right? So, you know, close them. Are you ready to get started? I did that. Guess what? Somebody called me up 50, about 15, 20 minutes before this call. And I hit it right away because I knew I had to be on a call. And I closed them. I said, okay, let's get your website up. Go over there, get your website up. So they got the website up. Then I said, call me back. They called me back. I said, now get an order in. They got their order in, and boom, just like that. It took me 15 minutes because I controlled my environment, right? So you can't be afraid to do that. So that's it. Now, if, you know, and I always tell people, look, why not share this with some of your friends and family? I don't ever use the word sell, okay? Because we don't do that. We share, right? It's really, really important. And, you know, so, some of these things um, that you do, it's not like, well, what do I say? Because there is nothing what you say. It's not about what do I say, because every single solitary conversation is going to be different. It just is. It is. It's going to be different. And, I don't know. I don't know who you're talking to and what they're about. A lot of times if somebody says, hey, Mike, will you talk to somebody with me? I've done it. Amy's on here. She's asked me to speak to different people, and I have. And I don't know I ask questions. Okay, what do you know? What's going on? And I don't know what I'm going into. I just listen to what they're telling me, and then I answer those questions and go and close them because you've answered the questions and they've already told you the answers, right? And you need to be consistent with that because consistency like that will create habits. Consistency creates habits. So if you're consistent with that, you'll be really, 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 really good closer and tracking your relationships, right? See? So now I'm looking in here and I see Olga's in here. And I spoke to her, last week. And she'll probably get a call from me this week, maybe, because you know what? I haven't heard from her and I want to hear from her. So I got to get her and keep her on her toes. That's what you do, right? Because the minute that a person gets a few people into the business, guess what? You don't have to do anything with them anymore. And some people are self-starters, but not everybody is. And remember, people that you meet are going to have employee mentality. There's such a thing as employee mentality. And then there's employer mentality. And in the beginning, you have to almost act like the employer because you're the coach, right? You're the one that's helping them get through the things. So you have to start, when you start teaching these things, it automatically becomes a part of their day, right? And again, like Danny says, you can't drive a Ferrari on a hot dog work ethic. And don't and you can't sit there and go say, oh, you know,
Hey, time out. Quit messing up my sayings. You can't
oh,
live a filet mignon lifestyle with a hot dog work ethic.
I'm sorry, I messed up his sayings.
Yeah, yeah, stop it.
And then what else was that you say about hustle? And I don't want to ruin that up either.
Let me throw something in there. When I've been doing this 42 years, started at 18 as a distributor. And one of my favorite lines of all time when speaking to anyone is, do you keep your options open for making extra money? In 42 years, I never had one person say, no, Daniel, I got so much laying around, I don't know what to do with it. No. So remember that line. Do you keep your options open for making extra money? You won't have anybody say no. Well, yeah. What do you got in mind? No, I found this great company. The world's going green. So, and one more thing I want to add, and then I'll let Mike take over and maybe John speak for a little bit if he likes. But don't complicate your business. It's very, very simple. It is a simple numbers game. Okay. And what I mean by that is the person who shares the Santi Organics with the most people every single day at the end of the month ends up having the most customers and users, the most distributors doing the business, therefore has the most volume and makes the biggest check. Cut and dry. There's a gentleman by the name of Bill Britt. People that have been in this industry, like John and some other people for many, many years, will probably know who he is. New people probably wouldn't. He's passed away quite a while ago. But I loved the story of Bill Britt because he got involved in Amway early in the beginning, just like you are here at Asante Organics. And when he passed, he was on a show, I think it was 2020, and being interviewed. And the interviewer says to Bill Britt, she says, Mr. Britt, what's the secret? What's the magic? Thousands of people joined Amway and haven't made a penny, and you're a multimillionaire from Amway. And he chuckled a little bit like, he goes, there's no magic. There's no secret. If you want to call it something, call it a work ethic. He goes, I shared Amway with 1,200 people. And out of those 1,200 people, only 300 joined. And out of the 300 that joined, only 85 did anything. And out of the 85 that did anything, only 35 took it seriously. And out of the 35 that took it seriously, 11 made me a multimillionaire. That is how it works. That's how it worked 50, 60 years ago when he got involved. And nothing has changed today other than technology. Back when I got involved in this industry in 82, you had a landline and an answering machine. There was no computers like this. There was no cell phones. Pagers came out, someone paged you, you'd have to find a phone booth to call them back. We made and built our business with our mouth. Okay. Now you have all this technology, social media, all these different platforms where you can be working really all the time. Back in the day, you had to stick to certain hours. Now you can be sitting in your boxer shorts, working, or your pajamas and working on your computer, reaching people. So don't complicate it. Like Mike said, you can train yourself broke, buying books, taking courses. It is strictly a numbers game. And if you do the numbers, at the end of the day, you're going to be making money. So just want to share that Bill Britt story because that's how it works. There's no shortcuts. You work really hard for 2, 3 years to never have to work another day again in your life. That's how this industry works. Anyone that's making 6 figures in this industry, they didn't do it in a few months. They took them a couple of years. You're going to make money along the way. First, you make a few $100. Next thing you know, you're making $800. Now you're making $1,200, and it keeps building until it gets to whatever your goal is. Or, I have some people go, Dan, I just want to make $10,000 a month. I'm happy. I can live very good on 120 grand a year. Let's get to work. That's $2,500 a week. Very, very doable. Some people say, oh my God, Dan, I see the picture. The world's going green. Only 9% of the world's green. We're involved in a way of life before we life. I want to make 50 grand a month. Let's do it. Again, it's a simple numbers game. And like Mike said, you got to plan your work and work your plan. You got to say, I'm going to work my business 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 5 hours a week. Don't make a number that's not realistic. You're only cheating yourself. If you can only work 10 hours a week, 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, that's fine. And get your plan together and work your plan. But at the end of the day, it's simple numbers. It's so easy because not only is it numbers, you're not selling anything. Remember that. We educate people. People buy these products every single month, use them every day. We're just going to do the numbers and educate people. And most people, once they know what we know, you can't unknow it. And they're going to show me the organics. I had never had a clue, Daniel. Again, 1936, for those of you that don't know, our government granted self-regulation to the personal care industry because it's one of the largest industries in the world. I believe it's 10 to 12 trillion a year because it doesn't matter where you live in the world, whether you make 10 grand a year, 10 million, or anything in between. You take a shower, you brush your teeth, you use these are staples in people's homes. These are not luxury products. Now we have obviously a wonderful nutritional line and skincare line if you're looking to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, but the staples are what really, people use every single day. And they don't think about buying shampoo or deodorant. When they get low, the next time at the store, they grab it, they buy it. Now they got a one-stop shop where you can just have it delivered to your door every month. So get out there and do the numbers. I mean, it's just that simple. It's not rocket science. It's just a work ethic. You know, I always say hustle beats talent every time when talent doesn't hustle. Meaning, I don't care if you have a master's or doctorate's degree. If you if you don't have a work ethic, that piece of paper is worthless. I'll take the guy with a high school diploma and a work ethic and make him a very wealthy individual because of his work ethic. So with that, I'll pass it back to Mike, and Mike can move forward from there. Thank you for your time.
To me, as I was trying to walk with everything in my arms into the house, because it's my computer's burning up. But I'm going to tell you what, let's do some really good training. Let's talk to a guy who's made millions in this industry. So
There's a
I'm
thing.
going to give the floor over
There's
to
a thing not saying.
John. Whoa, Susan, you got to mute yourself there. So I'm going to give the floor over to John Macker, because he's a great trainer when it comes to this. He's trained many people to success. So John.
Well, I think it's interesting because what I was going to say tonight, I have to just kind of like throw it out the window because you guys are touching on some really good stuff. And you know, Michael, when you talked about follow up, there's a difference between following up and following through, right? I think there's I don't think I know there's a statistic in sales in general that says most people follow up 1 or 2 times, then they quit. Right? They'll try to get a hold. Somebody maybe was on a webinar like this, or they watched a video, or they saw a presentation or something, and people will call that person back. They don't get them. They're busy, or they don't have time for them, and they try 1 or 2 times, and then they forget, and they don't follow through. And I think most successful people in this industry have a better habit of following through than just following up and trying. It's almost like, to me, like, I don't use the word try. It's not in the dictionary. It's like, try to get up out of this chair. Well, if I try, I'm not going to do it. I either get up out of this chair or I don't, right? There's no such thing as try. And Michael, you touched on a very good point that if you want to be successful in this industry, for a lot of people that are new and they're just looking at a new opportunity, they're busy in their day job, they're busy with their families, they're busy in what they got going on. You might be a little blip on their radar because you had a conversation with them the other day or a week ago or 2 weeks ago or whatever the case may be. So it's really, really important to follow through with that person. And then when you do get a hold of that person, you want to get them on a 3-way call with your sponsor or your upline and allow them to help you. You don't have to be the expert in the beginning. And which takes me to my next point, and that's enthusiasm. You know, it doesn't matter what company you've been with. It doesn't matter what company you're with. There's hundreds of network marketing companies, and there's thousands of products in this industry. Most of them are good. We know that we find the best products in this industry. They're not as good as what we have here, but there's a lot of good products in network marketing. But it doesn't matter if, you have the best compensation plan and the best products on the planet and the best environment and the best culture and all that stuff, if you're not enthusiastic about it. You see, it doesn't matter what other people think about what you're doing, your friends and families and all the naysayers and the dream stealers and all that. What matters is about how you feel about what you're doing. And you want to carry over that enthusiasm. We used to do a training in one of my previous companies. We had a weight loss product that created, pretty dramatic results in a short amount of time. And we have that element here as well. And let me give you an example. Let's say you walked into an elevator, there was a couple of people in there, and we all have people that don't want to see anybody in the elevator. When the elevator's showing up and the doors are getting ready, you're like, I hope nobody's in this elevator. I don't want to talk to anybody, right? Well, if you're a network marketer, you're hoping there's maybe a couple people in the elevator where people are getting in there, with you. And if somebody looks at you and they ask you how you're doing, the normal human response is, oh, I'm fine. How are you doing? How's your day? That's the normal human response. What if you put a cute little spin on that? And when somebody asks you how you're doing, they look you in the eye, you say, I'm doing great. I just came from my doctor. I'm down 22 pounds. My blood work is perfect. My blood pressure is as good as it's ever been. I'm sleeping better at night. I have more energy during the day. I feel fantastic. How are you? and then just be quiet and wait for their response. And then they're going to be like, well, how did you do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Do you have an email? Do you have a phone number? I'm happy to share some information with you. You see, when you're just handing out business cards to people and handing out information, you have absolutely no control until you get their information back. Now you have control, right? So that's just a little training part about that. Enthusiasm is important when you're talking to your people, and following through. When you call your people back, let your upline know, hey, I have a follow-up call with Ed at 3:30 today. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Can you be available? Because if I call you, I'm going to have Ed on the line, and I would love to introduce you to him and help explain your story and help me get this guy. And then don't be afraid to ask for the business, ask for the sale, right? Are you ready to get started? Right? Because when people hear the stories, and like I shared a couple of weeks ago, my mother-in-law story, when I share that with people, they're blown away. They're like, I want information on that. You actually have a product that can help with that. And obviously we can't make any claims, so I won't, but I'm just saying, yes, we do. Yes, we do. And it's important to follow through with those people. And Daniel touched on a very, very, very good point. This is a numbers game. And the cream will rise to the top. It's much easier to run with a bunch of winners across the finish line than it is to drag people across the finish line. That's tough to do. You cannot build this business for somebody. You can lock arms with them and build it together and run together, but you can't build it for them, right? I mean, it's almost like the employer that is trying to hire somebody that is going to care more about their business than they do. That's never going to happen. But people will feed off your enthusiasm, people will feed off your energy, and people will get excited about that. When you bring them to a three-way call, or you share the stories, or they're on a webinar like this. And Jim Rohn, one of our great industry trainers that's no longer with us as well. And when Daniel was talking, he reminded me of this. He tells a story about, I'll beat anybody. Because I know this is a numbers game. If I have 10 to 12 people out of 100 that I talk to join my company, you talk to 10 or 12 people, I'll talk to 100 and I beat you. It's a numbers game, plain and simple. Not everybody's going to see it, obviously, but this is a business where you can get started for a few $100. You can consume your overhead. All right, your auto ship. What's your auto ship? 75 points in this comp plan to stay active every month. You consume it. You become extremely healthy. You can fail 90% of the time, and guess what? Become extremely wealthy. My first company, where I made several $1 million, I signed up 250 people my first 24 months. Out of those 250 people, about 50 or 60 people actually did the business. And out of those 50 or 60 people, about 7 or 8 of them actually became superstars and leaders. And that made me several $1 million. What other industry in the world can that possibly happen other than right here? We already know we have the best products, hands down. We already know we have the best compensation plan. I'm not going to go into that, but one of these nights I will. And you'll see exactly why this is the best compensation plan out there. We have a company that's 20 years in business, never missed a check, never changed the plan. I don't know of another network marketing company in the industry that can say that. Not even the big ones. And I won't mention any names. So you are in the right place at the right time. Get enthusiastic about it. If you're not enthusiastic enough to talk to people, borrow your sponsor story, borrow your upline story, borrow my story, borrow Robert's story, borrow Amy's story, borrow anybody's story. I mean, we have Dr. Becky, who is one of the world's renowned GI doctors, a medical doctor. She's not a PhD or psychologist. She's a medical doctor. She had her own practice, and she was regarded as one of the best GI docs in the whole country. She's here. Why is she here? She knows more about gut health and the human body than anybody. Why would she be here if we didn't have the best products on the planet? And I mentioned before, we have, Danny mentioned it, 42 years in this industry. Michael, 42 years in this industry. Robert has 40 years in the industry. JJ's been doing it 40 years. I've been doing it 30 plus years. Success leaves clues. And you are in the right place at the right time. So there's nothing else I can say about that, Michael. Back to you.
Thank you very much. And I want to bring this up. I want you guys, now remember, we make 10%. So we're making 5% of each side up to the volume on the pay leg. I want you to do this math once, because this is why this was even installed. And all you got to do is go find 2 people. That's it. 2. And you know what? So let's just say this week you find 2 people. That's it. Put one on your left and one on your right. And you got $100 on each of them in points. How much did you make for the week? You made $10. Oh, well, you made $10. That's $4 more than Dr. Becky made in her first check when she made multi-million dollars. Okay. Now let's look at this person right here. We got one on the left and one on the right. We're going to say to these guys, this one guy, come on, let's go get 2 people. 2 people by the end of the week. 2 people by the end of the week. And if you do it, because it's about following through, like John said, now you got 4. So at the end of the week, you made $30. Okay? $30. All right. And forget about the week. Let's just say this is in a month. How about a month? Let's just do this over 1 year's time. Let's do it that way. Because I'll tell you what, if you're not getting 2 people in 1 month, you aren't doing the business. So let's just say it's October 2nd now. You just went and got 2 people. You made $10 this month and you got your product. All right. You're using that product anyway. Get to write it off. So you got your product for nothing. Now, you got a whole month, 30 days to help this guy get 2 people and to help that guy get 2 people. And see what you do. People do what you do. They don't do what you tell them to do. So if you're working with this person that you brought in on the 2nd month and he went out and got 2 people because you're helping them and you're helping that means you only got to get 4 people in a month. You know what you made? $30. $30. Well, now comes the 3rd month. And guess what happens? Because you did it, they did it. So now all of a sudden it starts replicating. And 8 people are in your business now. That's in 3 months. 3 months, you got 8. You made $70 for the month. Okay. The 4th month, guess what happens? You got 16 people in your business and you got $150 for the month. Wow. Now you paid for your product. Okay. The 5th month, it keeps going because success breeds success. That's how it just basically works. And guess what? Now we're in, the 5th month. Now we got 32 people in our organization. And guess what you made? $310. Wow. Now the 6th month, it doubles again. And you make $630. The 7th month, okay, we aren't even a year into it yet. You're at $1,270 a month. Okay. I know a lot of people that would love an extra $1,270 a month. Absolutely. 1,000%. Go on to the 8th month. Okay. On the 8th month, you're at $2,550. Okay. Because you worked down 2 levels and helped them get their 2. And that's all you focused on. Because you're not going to be able to get down to the 7th and 8th at that point in time. Because that's going to happen automatically because people are going to do what you did for them. And that's it. Not what you told. You ain't got to sit there and tell them to do it. That isn't going to work. I can guarantee it 1,000%. But then all of a sudden the 9th month comes. And in the 9th month now, you're at $5,000 a month. That's job quitting money. Okay? That's called job quitting money. I don't know many people that are making that. And then you're job quitting. And here comes month number 10. We're not even a year into it. You're at 10 grand a month now. Now that's retiring your spouse money, probably. Okay. Now 2 people don't have to work. And the 11th month it happens, but only 2 people, just 2. You're at over $20,000 a month. That's without matching bonuses yet. This is just on your volume. There's 6 ways to get paid. I'm talking about 1. And then you'll understand why I put this compensation plan here. Because in the 12th month, if they repeatedly did what you've done for them and you made yourself available because you wanted to make the bigger money, And once you're making that kind of money, I think that's where you're going to stick. You're at over $40,000 a month. And that's not with any matching bonuses. And that's with only finding two people in the world to do the business. Two people. Come on. With stuff that you use every single day. I don't care if you use it, you don't use it, you throw it over the boat. It don't matter what you do with it. The bottom line is, look how this duplicates on the mainstay of getting paid, on residual income that you're going to make on people that use commodities that they use every single solitary day, that you go like even Robert was saying, and I have to say I'm sorry for Robert because he planned on being here tonight and he had a doctor's appointment. So that ran probably late. That's what he told me if it wasn't. And I said, don't worry, because we got John Macri here today. So, that's just as good. And but I mean, you think about that and about that way of getting paid. I showed you how to make $40,000 a month in a year. Now, how about this one? Because this is what Mark Arnell told me, right? Mark Arnell was in my organization, the guy who wrote the first year in network marketing. He was he was one of our uplines, right? So here's what he said. I got a deal for you, Mike. He goes, how about it? And he asked me this, you do this. You got to work for me for 2 hours a day. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be cleaning out a horse barn. It doesn't matter what you're doing, Mike. 2 hours a day. And you're not going to get paid. Nothing. But in the third year, we'll write a contract up with an attorney. And starting in year number 3, you're at $30,000 a month for the rest of your life. Would you do it? Would you do it? Now I'm asking you guys, would you do it? Because you know what? There isn't a guy that wouldn't do something like that. To get locked in at $30,000 a month for the rest of his life and not do nothing? I'll tell you something. Danny and I have friends that are making well over $200,000 a month in the first company that we were in, that were in at the same time we were in. Not one friend. Friends, a lot of friends. We talked to one today, Jerry Campese, uses our products. But I'll tell you what, that guy, man, such upper six figures, and he hasn't called the company since 1992, probably 1992. That's what this industry can give to you. That's what working for yourself does. Okay. That's what happens when you start a business. It's just like if you invested in a business and it was a brick and mortar store, no matter what you did, whether you were doing dry cleaning or you were a seamstress or you were painting art or you were doing whatever it is you're doing. You think you're going to just sit there and wait and that month doing nothing, just sitting in the building all by yourself, that you're going to make money at the end of the year? No. And I'll tell you how hard, you know what? I want you to understand how hard it is. Dan, you got a Japanese friend or something like that, right? A guy who started Japanese restaurants or something like that. Tell that story, because that's a powerful.
And the guy that owns a clothing store. So when they started their business, it took them about $500,000. They took their life savings. They took a second mortgage on their home, and they got a business loan. Now, failure was not an option because if they failed, they'd lose their home, they'd be broke, and they had the bank going after them. Now, his first year in business was happy just to break even, because your first year in any business is just getting the word out. Like, he had a restaurant, so the word got out. Oh my God, the food's great. The prices are fair. The staff is very friendly, great service. And it took time. Well, now years have passed, and he probably makes $300,000 a year from that restaurant, but he's married to it. When you own a restaurant, you have cooks, you have the prep cooks, you have dishwashers, you got bus boys and girls. You've got the way.
Let me butt in there. You were telling me how he almost went bankrupt like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, of course, because here you spend $500, right, max, to start your business. Treat your business like my friend treated his restaurant business. Like you spent $500,000. You own the first certified organic health wellness store in the world, your website. Don't treat it like you spent a couple $100 on it. Treat it like you spent a couple $100,000 on it, and your whole work ethic will change. And I have the same story with a gentleman with a clothing store. First year or two, just happy to keep the doors open. Really wasn't making any struggling. Now it's been years and years, and he makes a few $100,000 a year. But when you own a brick and mortar, you're married to it. It's hard to get away and go on vacation. And when you do, you're getting phone calls because the turnover, especially in the restaurant industry, is constant. You're constantly hiring new people, losing people, hiring new people. So, here you got a business where you have none of those employees. You can make way more than $300,000 a year. You don't have to take your life savings, get a business loan from the bank, second mortgage on your house. You don't have to do any of that. But if you treat your business like you did, I can guarantee you're going to be very successful with your business. So that's, I think, what you're getting at, right, Mike?
1000%. And I can probably say this for myself, and John would say this, and you would say this, that we have never met anybody that, again, if you take, now you own this business that we have here. It's not the organics. You own your own store. Now, if you would have mortgaged your house, put all your money in because you wanted to own a store with 120 products of things that people do every single day. So they come into your store and they do all their shopping at once and they leave and you give them good service and they come back again. That's a beautiful thing. Now, imagine if you acted like you put everything out on the line like that. And you spent the millions of dollars that we did to do the software and do everything and everything like that. What would you do? Would you sit there and just hope somebody sees it once in a while? Or would you be spreading the word on social media, on Facebook, to your friends and to your family and to everybody, single solitary person you know? I don't know one person. Don't let anybody kid you if you're watching this tonight. I can say this, and I can think Danny can say this, and John can say this, that we who have made millions of dollars in this industry, we don't know one person that only, tooted around a couple hours a week and now they're rich, because it doesn't work like that in life. So if some guys, oh, come on over here, look, oh my God, that guy owns it. And we're talking about these new things that are available now. And it's this and this new word and this and that. And oh my God, look at the box that comes in. Man, I've seen a business right now getting ready to start up that the box is more expensive than the product that's actually going inside of it. And that's 6 products they got. And it's like, everybody's all jacked up because of the box. It's like, you're not selling a box. Now we got to look at what's going inside of us or on top of us and things like that. The thing is, this thing is all designed. It's all fixed for you. And we've not ever met anybody that worked only a couple of hours a week and became wealthy in this industry, because it doesn't work like that in any industry. None, zero, absolutely none. So you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And with that, I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna tell you about this announcement, which I'll probably do tomorrow too, because a lot of people, I know church is on Wednesdays and things like that, but we did this one instead of Tuesday night because of the primaries going on and all that good stuff like that, right? So here it is. Look, what we did was we extended this promotion that we're doing even better than you could ever imagine. Because once we got done, I started thinking about it and I said, Angie, and believe you me, Angie's very responsible for this because she got it done, not Mike. Okay, let's get that straightened out either, because the people that work with us, Danny's got his job, what he does good. I do what I do. Everybody's got their spot. And Angie had to get with the developers. And I said, look, here's what we want to do. If you're on a $100 auto ship, okay, or a reoccurring order, okay, you get rewarded for that. So if after 3 months, you're on that reoccurring order, then we send you a voucher that you can use that you can use and get anything you want in this company half price. Okay. And then I said, wait, let's do it like this, because maybe we miscommunicated. Now comes the fourth month. Well, what happens? 4, 3, 2. Oh, wait, there's 3 months right there. So you get another voucher. So it's a revolving voucher every single solitary month after the third month that you can start getting stuff here for half price just for being on a reoccurring order of things you're going to use every single day anyway. And you can change your reoccurring order. It doesn't have to be the same stuff, but you just, all the software system is going to do is track that you were on one, and you can change it up. And if you were, boom, you're going to get something in your email that's going to be a purchasing code that when you place an order next time, or you want something, let's say, oh, I'm running out of my shake, my protein shake. Wow, I can get it for $30 now. Bang. Now you just go and use your order and you get it. That is beautiful. Or add it to your next order, whatever it is that you want to do. So you know what? Understand the power of this compensation plan, because if you use it right in just the one component, I showed you how within a year you can be at over $40,000 a month without matching bonus checks. Now throw in 100% matching bonus checks. That's why 20 some odd years ago, a friend of mine said to me 30 years ago, when we used this comp plan that was being used in another company, they were saying, I can't believe it. I'm making 90,000 a week. This one's making 70, 60,000, not a month, a week. Why? Because they're matching checks too. Imagine, I showed you how to make $40,000 with only 2 people. Imagine if you went out and got 4 or 5 or 10 or 15 or 20. Look at John. John got 250 people in his organization, and it whittled down to those people. Now, John, let me ask you a question. If you're still on, I see it. What would have happened? What do you think you would have made? So you made a few million. Do you think what if you had 100% matching check on all the people you brought in? Think you would have made even probably a few million more? Just on a match?
I probably would have tripled, if not quadrupled my income had there been this check match. Absolutely.
Yeah. So guys, I hope you see what you got in front of you, and I hope you see that you're early. Not early because we're 20 years old, early because we got a small populated database, and that's the most important thing. And you know what? You're going to find out who the leaders are. You're going to find out who the real leaders are, because in a year from now, when you're seeing people making that kind of money, those will be your leaders. And I've said this before in a room where there was a lot of people, hundreds. And I said, the sad thing is in a year from now, some of you I won't even see. I may not see you again because you won't hang around. And then there'll be the ones that just hung around and didn't even know what they were doing. And now they're standing there being a millionaire. Why? Because they just did it. They just did it without understanding it and just went out there and brought them. Becky will tell you this. Becky, who made millions and millions of dollars, said, I never knew the comp plan hardly. I never understood it. All I understood was get 2 people in. And then she goes, I brought more than 2, but that's all I understood. She'll be the first one to tell you tomorrow night. I'll put her on the spot. And I'm going to ask her tomorrow night, hey, did you ever understand that compensation plan you worked with? And she made multiple millions of dollars in? She'll say no. All I had to do was bring in 2 people. So that's all she understood. So there it is for you, laid out. So great promotion. I love it that we extended it, made it a revolving coupon. And we'll see you here tomorrow night with Dr. Becky. We'll be doing some good stuff, talking about some guts and butts and everything else that goes on. And get Robert to speak and everything like that. John, thank you very much for helping us out. And everybody, thank you for being here. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless your businesses. If you need to get a hold of any one of us, just reach out to me and we can get their numbers and things like that. And we're here to help you guys. We're here to get you guys to the top. Have a wonderful day. God bless you all.